Tiffanie Travels, where we help women and families travel, build wealth, and live richer. So on my channel, you'll find expat chats with women and families from around the world, and you'll also find travel vlogs. So today we're talking with Monique from Kingston, who recently moved back to Jamaica. I'm going to bring her on now. Hi.
Hi, Tiffany. How are you? And hi, everyone out there watching. It's so good to be back on.
Yes, we are happy to have you. You're back in Jamaica. Why don't we start by you introducing yourself, talking about your channel and what people can find there?
Sure. So my name is Monique from Kingston, freshly renamed from Monique, the Traveling Jamaican, simply because my channel, I started it in earnest in 2022 when I left Jamaica to kind of do the digital nomad thing. And we ended up, I left with my daughter and my parents, and we ended up in Merida, Mexico, where we spent a good 2 years there. And so now I'm back in Jamaica, having made that shift. And yeah, so now I'm Monique from Kingston, kind of doing content on my channel about repatriating back home and what that's been like so far.
Okay, we have Taylor V here. Hi. Nice
Hi.
to see you. We have JB. I haven't seen you in a while. Hi, nice to see you. Okay, so you were in the US for a while, and that's where we met up while you were here. And why did you leave the US?
That is a good question. So when we left Mexico, my daughter and I went to Florida, South Florida, where we spent a good 3 months. And I didn't realize, like, you hear it all the time being from Jamaica, that Florida is an extension of Jamaica. Like, so many of us go there and settle there. And so I had a bunch of friends in South Florida. When I started reaching out to people like, hey, I'm in Florida, let's meet up, I had a long list of people who I could meet up with. And one of the questions that everybody asks is, are you staying? Why aren't you staying? The thing is, you know, there are a bunch of reasons why I stuck to my plan and I decided to come back to Jamaica. And one of them being the quality of life, I would say. Yeah, I think my main reason is the quality of life here in Jamaica versus what it is in the US. Like, one of the reasons why I left, you know, was in search of more culture and more, just kind of looking for something fun, something more to experience, looking at different ways people live, you know, and checking out what other cultures are like. And in the US, I found it to be more of a hustle culture, and that's not what I was searching for at all. So a lot of my friends, there are even friends that I did not get the chance to meet up with because their schedules were just so busy. And so on the weekends, they have very little time to do anything else but, you know, whatever they're doing. So I'm just like, I'm not sure if the US is somewhere that I would want to stay full time.
Yeah, your mom joined. So hi. This is Monique's mom, and she has a channel too about life in Jamaica.
She does. She was in Mexico with me, and she came back to Jamaica before us. So yeah.
Yep. So you can follow her too. So you were saying life in the US is like hustle culture, and it's so true that it's like work. It's a work culture. You're just working all the time, and then the weekends, people are just catching up on chores, like laundry that you didn't do, grocery shopping that you didn't do, or just regular like house cleaning or any kind of maintaining a home. If you have a home, you might have like repairs or like cleaning out the garage. Right. So there's just always something to do, not always something fun to do, just always something like chore that needs to be done. And then contrast that with Jamaica. Like, what would you say the culture is like there?
So I have to be honest that I have not been in a 9-to-5 since 2018. Like in 2018, I left the corporate culture behind, and I've had the luxury of being able to like work online and make money that way. So to be honest, you know, the culture for me has always been different, you know, since the past was that 7 years. It's really and truly always been different. However, I do remember what it's like being in a 9 to 5 culture here in Jamaica and still kind of leaving work at 5, 6, even 7 p.m. and stopping out with friends at some random restaurant or lounge or somewhere and just chit-chatting for a couple hours, you know, having a drink or something, and then going back home. I know for us, you know, in my circle of friends and a lot of other Jamaicans as well, the weekends are a time of Sunday fun day where we try to get out to the beach or we go chasing waterfalls, or, you know, we find some kind of way to have more fun and to live life. And I feel like that is something that I was missing from the US. Like, there was very little bit of that from the few people that I did connect with, and I kind of got to see how they were living their lives. So many people were like, oh, we have to like schedule that in and make time and budget for that. And it was just not as easy to get up and be like, oh, let's go to the river today. You know what I mean? It was not easy at all. And so for me here in Jamaica, that being able to do those things, they enrich my life so much more. And I was not willing to give that up just to be in the US to earn more money, because you're earning more money, but at what cost?
Right. Yeah, so we do have like a brunch culture. If you go to like Delray Beach, or if even you go to DC, you'll see people having brunch. Like we have bottomless mimosas. We do have those things. But I want to know, when you were after work, you say you were meeting up with friends. Those friends, did they have kids?
They do a lot of and so yes, that's a difference for sure with, you know, living in America versus living in Jamaica as well. A lot of my friends have children. We all kind of have children. I'm trying to think if I know any friend. I know very few friends without kids at this point. But we all have either relatively affordable childcare after school, or we have family who's nearby, who's watching our children for us while we're at work. And therefore, if we decide to stay longer after work, they're still there in good comfort, in good care. We have options is what I'm trying to say. So it's not really a thing where, oh, we have to rush back home to the children. I know, I have friends who bring their kids out in the evenings with them, depending on where we're meeting up. They're there running around, having fun while mom is out, you know, chit-chatting, having a drink, doing whatever she is, because the environment is conducive and is safe. And I saw that a lot in Mexico as well. The kids were out at the taco stands. You're having a margarita, you're having whatever, but the kids are still out playing and having a good time. I didn't see a lot of that in the States.
Yeah, I think that's like a key difference, because we do have like people who go to the beach. We do have people who go boating, because there's a big boating culture here. We have the intercoastal. We have people that go fishing, go to brunch, go to dinner. But it kind of lessens dramatically once you have children, because the weekends are for catching up on all those things. And then in the other cultures, like Jamaican culture, you have so much support, you have so much help, you have so much family. So then you're living next to family even. And in the US, oftentimes people move away from family. So then you are not able to do some of those things because you don't have people to watch the kids.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the friends that I was staying with, she lives in West Palm Beach, and she is one of my, like, we call them roadies here in Jamaica, like my pari, my good friend who we used to do a lot of road activities in college together. So she was like my party friend in college together. And I went to stay with her for about 2 weeks in West Palm Beach. And I kind of, you know, was just looking at her lifestyle, and she goes to work. She has a young child as well. And she goes to work 9 to 5. She picks up her baby. The luxury that she has, I realize, is that her mom lives maybe 15 minutes away from her, and her mom is retired. So her mom does some volunteer work and stuff like that. but her mom is retired, so her mom can pick up her baby for her. And, you know, we went out together one weekend to a Jamaican party in West Palm Beach, and that's because her mom was watching her baby for her. Like, so I know it's her lifestyle, and I'm just like, she goes to work 9 to 5, she picks up the baby, and, you know, there's a lot with having a toddler in the evenings. And then on Saturday, she takes her baby girl to swimming classes, I believe it is. And then she comes home and she does all the household chores. So then on Sunday, she really tries to carve out some time to just sleep and catch up on rest. So there really is no time to, like, you know, be fun. And she kept saying it over and over when I was there, like, you take me away from the schedule, you know, look how me did have everything, because everything is so rigid. And so I do this at this and this, and that's great. But I feel like sometimes you want to just be able to get up spontaneously and say, let's go to the river. And, you know, when I come around and people get to do that, they feel like it's a vacation from life. But I want to be able to have that vacation more often.
Yeah, okay, couple of things. So first of all, we're gonna say hi to, I think it's Nika. I think that's how you say it. I watched one of her videos. I listened to her. I think I remember it being like Nika. So hi.
Hi, I see her on my channel all the time too. It's so good to see you.
Yeah, I think she follows both of us. Hi. Okay, the other thing was you said you found a Caribbean party in West Palm Beach?
I did. I should hook you up to my friend Rochelle. Shout out to Rochelle. She is one of my best friends in the whole wide world. And yeah, we went to a few Jamaican parties while I was there.
Well, how was that?
So I went to one with her, and the party was kind of scanty, and I was just like, why is there nobody else here? However, the music was good, you know, the drinks were flowing, all of that was good. Then she went out the other weekend when I was not there, and she said, oh gosh, Monique, you missed the actual party. The place it ran, the vibes were so good. She and her friends that she went with, they met people. I'm just like, girl, there's a dating scene. Like, I definitely missed out on the actual party. But that was 2 weekends in a row that she was able to go out to these kind of, you know, Jamaican parties, Caribbean parties, and she had a great time. I had a great time at the party that we went to together. It was just not as crowded as I was hoping it would have been. So yeah, there are those experiences there. And I guess, you know, being Jamaican, it's so important to me as well to kind of have some of my culture if I were to move there. And so, you know, my first friend that I was staying with, he's Jamaican as well, and he took me out to a few Jamaican parties down in Miramar and Plantation where he lives. And, you know, that was absolutely great to see and feel like I'm not far from home. I'm still getting parts of my culture. And then in West Palm Beach, I was able to replicate it again. And I figure it's not so bad. If I did move to the US, I would still have Jamaican parties to go to, Jamaican restaurants to eat at. So that part I noted, like, okay, maybe I could make life here.
Yeah, my mom joined, so she says hi.
Hi.
So your friend Rochelle, you said her mom is retired, and you said that her mom helps her with her baby. So even that is like abnormal for American life, because usually the parents are still working, because
Right.
here they're living separately, so they have their own housing expenses, so they're still working, so they're unable to assist full time usually with the kids, and then that causes strain and fatigue on the parent, and then they're just don't have the energy. Even if they did have the time, sometimes they don't have the energy to go out on a Saturday. Like you said, your friend is like, I need to sleep on Sundays. Yeah. So would you ever move here, you think?
Perhaps, I don't know. That question for me, I go back and forth on. I would love to be able to go back and forth as much as I can, you know, as much as the visa situations allow, because we see that that's in turmoil right now. But I do think that I love the conveniences that the US offers, but I don't know if I want to live there full time, to be 100% honest with you. I don't know that I want that for myself.
Even with the friends here, And even with the food here, and even with the music here, and even with the parties here, because we do have like, if you go further south, Broward, Miami, you will find like a restaurant that'll have like a brunch scene and they'll play reggaeton or Afro beats. Even with all that, you're like,
No, sir. So in the US, it's still kind of boring. But not only that, it's expensive. And I think we were saying in our last video that I would have to like learn so much, like the food, like being able to enjoy natural foods here without having to think about it is something that I really enjoy. Like in the US, I realized that I'd have to like find a farmer's market or the certain stores that sell, you know, better produce, and it's too much thinking.
It's true. The food in the US, like there's dyes and there's all kind of chemicals and additives and preservatives and hormones and antibiotics and just so much in the food that can impact health. And you go to other countries, like even the UK, even other developed countries, they ban these additives to the food. And it's like,
Right.
why can't we ban it here?
And then let's talk even about healthcare. So healthcare in the US is 100 times more vast than what it is on poor little Jamaica, right? Being a small island, and like half, if not more, of our doctors, they migrate eventually in search of greener pastures. But in the US, the healthcare, you have to advocate so much for yourself when you're trying to explain what is wrong with you. And then I don't know anything about this, I'm just going off, you know, what's on the news and stuff. The wait at times to see like specialists is crazy. In Jamaica, it's not as difficult to see a specialist, and it's actually not as expensive as in the US. So, you know, I wouldn't have access to like the US. Sorry, my hair's in my mouth. I wouldn't have access to like the US insurance, I guess. So I'm comparing cost without insurance. Healthcare in Jamaica is not that expensive, and I can get to see the doctors that I want to see relatively quickly. I don't want to like, you know, people compare and say, but in the US, I have to stay because the healthcare, you know, I don't want to go to Jamaica. And I won't take away from the fact that our healthcare service or system or whatever, it could use a lot of help. Like it's no better roses, you know? But for the small scale of healthcare that I have needed so far, I find it more affordable and quicker to access. And the quality is on par with the US for sure. Certainly, you know, if the more complicated things get, you might want to go overseas for certain, you know, whatever. But as I was saying, for what I have needed to access so far, yeah.
Yeah, JB says she doesn't want to live here, and this is her home. So she understands you not wanting to live here.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if I as I said, there are certain things in the US that they shine brightly in, and just being here, I miss certain conveniences immediately. But on the other hand, I like the slow pace of Jamaica, and I like the diversity of the land, like being able to go into the mountains or being able to go to the beaches within like 15, 30 minutes. You know what I mean? And I was talking about this recently, is that if I needed to go to a beach, I can access one within 20, 25 minutes. I don't want to have to drive an hour away to get to a beach. This is what I like about island life. You know, I grew up on an island. I love the water.
Yes, and Mika says the thing that makes the healthcare better in the Caribbean is the care. And you were saying how it's more affordable. I have insurance and I have allergies, and I went to the allergist and they wanted to do an allergy test, and they were saying it's going to cost like $300. And I have insurance.
Right.
And I was like, no, ma'am. What
Yeah.
else? What else can you do? We're not.
I mean, yeah, as she said, it's the care. It is the care and the ability to access health care no matter what spectrum you're on, because if there are pretty extensive surgeries or, you know, things that you can have done for little and no money here in Jamaica without having to wait a year or two, simply because we do have subsidized healthcare. Now, the standards are not comparable perhaps, but we do have subsidized healthcare here. And so, you know, a lot of times people say that, you know, I hear all the grouses of you know, healthcare here in Jamaica, for instance. I hear all the grouses, but unless and until I have like a serious health issue, it's Jamaica for me.
All right. Anika says the U.S. has better medical technology. So if you have an acute issue or
That's
something
exactly
like
what I was trying to
cancer,
say.
it may be better. But in the Caribbean, people know you and the culture. They know your culture and how your body responds.
Exactly what I was saying. Like the more they have the med tech, so the more acute the more complicated whatever you have going on is, you might want to go and get, you know, more sophisticated healthcare. But in Jamaica, and then we have a culture of, you know, holistic healthcare, is that what it's called? You know, go drink a bush tea, and you know, we know what herbs to take to fix certain ailments. And so even though Jamaica, we have high blood pressure and diabetes high on the list, it's because of our diet. It's really and truly not because of lack of healthcare. I guarantee that. And so, yeah, for me, healthcare, I hear a lot of people say they want to migrate for better healthcare. But until I have that kind of like acute anything going on, I still think the healthcare in Jamaica is quite comparable to the States. And in some instances, probably even better.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So how would you describe hold on. So Anika says, yes, we have holistic
And we're in the sun.
and we have generally active and we're in the sun all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would a doctor recommend like tea? Like if you have some kind of issue, a doctor would say, oh, drink some lemonade or drink some lemon tea. Would they?
Perhaps not a doctor, but everybody knows a nurse who would probably tell you, you know, one away, like pinch you on the side and say, yeah, man, go drink this or go take that or eat this or it's. So if you go to the doctor, they're probably not going to. However, we do have holistic doctors here. My father was seeing one for a while and he suffers from high blood pressure. So they do have actual like holistic doctors who will try to veer you off of the pills. So, and he had access to that without waiting. You know, there was no wait list or the doctor was not very expensive at all. I really enjoyed that for my father, that he was telling him like what to eat and, you know, how to manage the high blood pressure without just being on pills.
Yeah. So my mom, who is from Jamaica, says, I think a person's age and stage in life determines whether or not someone would move elsewhere. And she would not want to live anywhere else other than the USA. But that's just her take.
Yeah, I mean, age and stage has a lot to do with it, because here's my take on that. I think now in my early 40s, someone in my age group would probably want to live in the US for more opportunities. They are on like, I need to build my wealth and all of that right now in my life. A lot of the people who I've spoken with who are maybe in their 60s, they would love to move back to Jamaica for that slow pace of life, for the fresh air, for, you know, access to more nature and stuff like that, things like that. What I do find is that people who have moved away, the longer you stay away, the less you want to move back. Because you hear all the news, you hear everything that's happening. You're accustomed to a certain lifestyle, and you know that when you move to Jamaica, you'll be giving up certain things in order to gain other things. And so a lot of people are either scared because of the news, or they just don't want to give up that lifestyle. And so I do find that the longer you're away is the less people want to move back. And that's why it was so important for me to maintain contact with the island. Like even when I did move away, I would come back once per year to Jamaica just to have feet on the ground and know what's going on and being able to take the temperature of the land and things like that, because I did not ever want to lose that. So for me, you know, you asked me if I'd ever live there.
Yeah.
I know that I would never retire in the US. Like that is not a goal or dream of mine at all. I don't want to be there when I'm old age. Like that's just not me. But I appreciate that some people have grown accustomed to a higher standard of living and would like to maintain that, because there is you definitely give up some conveniences when you move back to Jamaica. I'll say that.
Yeah. What are some of the conveniences that you miss now that you're back?
I miss good customer service. I'm throwing Jamaica right under the bus with that one, but I do miss good customer service, child. I miss the speed of service as well. I miss being able to like have things done in a timely manner. For instance, like things like getting my internet installed took a while. And then someone commented on my channel to say, well, I'm in the States and it took me 7 days as well. I mean, that's relative, but I do miss the speed of doing business in the US. I miss the conveniences of like things like delivery, having things delivered same day or overnight. The wide variety of things that could be delivered. Like we are big on like food delivery now in Jamaica. But when I was in the States or even in Mexico, I could have anything delivered. And I do certainly miss that. What else do I miss? I miss the wide variety of options, when you're shopping for almost anything. Like now that I'm setting up this brand new apartment, I would love if there was some kind of IKEA type place that I could go and buy more affordable furniture and kind of fit it together, because this place is small. I don't want to get big bulky furniture. So I miss that kind of, if you get what I'm saying. Yeah.
So do they have services like Amazon services or Walmart delivery services in Jamaica?
We have, so for the longest while, when you shop on Amazon or anywhere online, we have freight forwarders. So they have warehouses in Florida, most of them, where you would shop online, send your thing to the Florida warehouse, and then the freight forwarder would bring it to you here in Jamaica. And obviously we're paying extra for that because you're paying for the thing on Amazon and you're paying the freight forwarder to bring it in for you. And so that kind of almost doubles the cost of whatever it is that you're buying online. Okay. Very recently, Amazon has started to ship to Jamaica and some items for free. So that has been amazing. It does take a while. It took me almost 2 weeks to get my first delivery from Amazon. However, I will wait the 2 weeks if I can buy the thing and get it delivered for absolutely free, because I'm cutting out the cost of the freight forwarder who charges by, to ship the thing. So he charges by weight. So, if it's a big box, if I'm going to get a table for my living room or whatever, and I see one on Amazon, he's going to charge for the weight of a table. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. But he's also going to charge me to deal with customs and all of that. Mm-hmm. Amazon has started to deliver for absolutely free, and I feel like that's just amazing. It takes a while, but it's something that is new, and I'm here for it.
Okay, my other question was furniture stores. So you moved back, and then where do you get furniture? But like here, we just go to Ashley Furniture, we go to IKEA, like you said, we go to City.
Ashley's here. Ashley Furniture is here, but there is no IKEA. So I'm still waiting on something like that to come in where it's like more affordable. So what we have, our version of affordable furniture is because we have furniture stores, like established furniture stores. Shout out to Courts. They're one of the oldest and biggest furniture stores in Jamaica, where you can go and get really nice things for a really nice price, for a really nice price. But what we have is like the smaller stores. A lot of them are immigrants who they move here and they set up shop. And these people are generally of like Chinese or Indian descent, and they set up shop and they come and they bring in things that you would not get. I don't know how to say, cheaper furniture. Let's just put it that way. like brands that you don't even know for appliances or furniture that's kind of rickety but cheap. And so you can go to these stores and get furniture for a reasonable price. The quality is going to be questionable for some of them, but for others, you can really go there and get some good pieces of furniture. So that's an option that I'm exploring. I'm supposed to go on the road so one day this week to actually go check out some of those stores and see what they have on offer, because like I want a small little tiny couch for the space that I have going on. So I'm supposed to go out and see what I can find. But yeah, and then of course we have a million carpenters as well. But that goes back to the speed of service and the customer service, because to get a workman to finish one job for you on time, oh God. But yeah, so we have furniture stores, we have options. It's just not any kind of wide options like you might have in the US.
What about like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist? You can buy stuff from other people. They have that kind of thing.
Before Facebook Marketplace became like a thing, we had Facebook groups. So like buy and sell groups that we would buy stuff from. And now Facebook Marketplace is catching on here. I actually just purchased a refrigerator from Facebook Marketplace that was used in great condition. I went and looked on it before. And so I have it here in my kitchen working perfectly. So yeah, you can find deals of people who are selling out their stuff online for sure.
Okay. So my mom, I guess she remembers Quartz Furniture Store. She said
they still have Quartz Furniture Store, and they're still very predatory because they have the one who you have like hire purchase. So you can go in there and put down a little bit of money and get the item. But by the time you finish paying for it, you pay 3 times the price.
Oh my gosh.
But it is an option for those who cannot afford to take out a whole sofa one time. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, they don't have financing like they do. Well, they do, but it costs, because we have 0% financing.
Oh, no. 0%. No.
It's like 0% for a year. And as long as
that's what Quartz is really known for. It's you can go there and get your furniture, but most people go there and take it out on hire purchase, where you pay 3 times the cost, a monthly fee, but you get it. So yeah.
Okay. So your mom says the doctors in the U.S. told her that she was a heart attack waiting to happen, and they put her on meds that made her ill, and she stopped taking them, and then she ate better and exercised, and then here she is 10 years later.
Yeah, I feel like doctors on a whole are pill pushers. A lot of them are not taking the opportunity or the time to be like, there's a way you can fix this with your lifestyle. And I've always thought that diabetes and high blood pressure are lifestyle things that you can fix with diet and exercise. You might need like a pill or half a pill to kind of manage it, but you don't need 10 pills, I think. I think if you're really serious, but a lot of us are not really serious about fixing our diet and actually exercising, are we? So there's that as well. But in Jamaica, you can get that holistic health care to be like, all right, you have high diabetes, here's how we're going to manage it.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Anika says, I'm still looking to return to Trinidad or Barbados in retirement. And my parents are returning to Trinidad in a couple of months because of the care, culture, and community.
I am so happy to hear that, because I do feel like when you're in your retirement ages, island life is so much better. And I'm very biased, obviously, but I feel like it's a slow pace of living, especially if you move to the countryside. I decided to move here back into the city where everything is like more expensive and louder and just, but it's my stage of life as well, why I chose to come back to the city. I know I will retire somewhere that's close to a beach when it's my time, hopefully I get there. But yeah, the slow pace of living, the fresher air, the access to just walk down to the markets. And even if the market is the stall on a street side, and get fresh fruits and 2 pieces of yam and go home and cook it. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's a different pace of lifestyle here. And if you have been living a different way for 40 years, it might frustrate you to come back to it. Yeah. But some people are looking forward to it. Some people are like, I'm tired of the rat race. Whatever, I can go back and I can live in peace and comfort.
JV says you might want to try Charleston, South Carolina. She grew up there with beaches, and there's an island there too, and it's similar to the Caribbean, but she doesn't live there now.
So here's my stance on it. I feel like my daughter will attend college in the US. I feel like that's where she's edging to, based on the fact that we were there for 3 months and she kind of fell in love with the lifestyle there. And I've always wanted her to go to college, not in Jamaica, just to open up some of the opportunities that she may have by going to college elsewhere. I wasn't always looking at the US. I wanted her to check out Spain and, some other countries to go to college to. But I think she's gravitating towards the US. Now, if she does follow through on that, there's a possibility that I might try to be by country. Is that a word? I don't know if I'm going there to live full time. So I've been edging her to try and look within certain states for colleges so that I don't have to be like, don't go to New York. I don't want to go to New York.
Way too expensive. Although there are a lot of Caribbeans, they're either in New York or in Florida. There's a lot of Caribbeans in New York.
So I don't know if I want to if she goes to a college in New York, I'll be like, I'll come and visit you for a week and go back home. But if she ends up in South Carolina, where there's an island, slow pace of life, I might be like, okay, I'll come and spend 3 months. You know what I mean? So we'll see how that goes.
Anika says, we have a return home movement starting, and she never thought she would return to Trinidad, but she has to work way too hard and harsh to live the way she wants to here.
You know what? I have been hearing that so much from even younger people. I think when the pandemic happened and a lot of people went remote, they realized that, because a lot of people did travel and they realized that life not have to be so hard. Life does not have to be so hard. So a lot of people have been jumping online, getting these remote jobs and moving elsewhere. We saw a great shift of that in Mexico. And I have been seeing a lot of younger people wanting to, maybe they are first gen people in America. And they have been born and raised there and they've been working there and they're like, hustle, hustle, hustle. But then they start to take family vacations or whatever to Jamaica, and they see that there's a different lifestyle that you can live. And it's like, okay, I might take a hit in income, but I don't need that great of an income to enjoy life here. And so I've been seeing a lot of my age group people be like, I'm out. I'm going back home. Yeah. And, we need some of that repatriation because we're a small island. The opportunities are less here. So we do have a lot of brain drain, a lot of the very talented people going abroad to live because that's where the money is and the opportunity is. I'm excited to see some of us return home.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a first generation American. And then I did my study abroad in Australia. And I saw so many people traveling for weeks at a time. And this was 20 years ago when I did my study abroad. Weeks at a time. Like the English, the Europeans, they go on holiday. It's not 2 weeks, it's 2 months. And that is every year. And that's when I started to realize, the US, we don't do it right. We do not do it right.
No, not at all. We used to say that we have a saying, well, I don't know if it's we or it's just me. I have a saying that, our family who was in the US, they live for 3-day weekends. They live for those types of holidays where, yay, they finally get to do something because the weekends are not long enough to do anything. And a lot of us, when we migrate, we're working not just one job, but 2 or 3 work. So we don't have the time for enjoyment. And especially if you migrate after having a taste of island life, you miss it and you want to come back home because you go and you hustle, and you make this bag of money. Not many people, as I said, the longer you stay away, sometimes, you buy your house, you buy your car, you say, all right, I'm actually not going back. A lot of people, they just want to be able to make enough money to take vacations in Jamaica. And I'm all for that too. Come back home as much as you can, but stay where, you've built this life and you're established and everything. I'm all for that too. Whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, okay. So moving back to Jamaica, I saw a video on your channel where it was a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment in Kingston, Jamaica. Beautiful, you know, like the tile, modern, super new in this gated community, but it was $2,800 a month. US prices.
Absolutely, US prices, out of this world prices. So, real estate is crazy, especially in Kingston, Jamaica, which is the capital of the island. Real estate prices are out of this world. Like it is, if you go on Twitter and you end up in Jamaica Twitter, it is a constant conversation. Who is buying these properties? Who is renting these properties? The price, them too high. Me and Marley, me and Munchkin right now are in a 1-bedroom simply because I couldn't afford to get a 2-bedroom that I would want right now based on the prices. We have to get back into a 2-bedroom. And so you'll see a lot more of house hunting videos on my channel coming up because, you know, by summer comes and she starts to go to school, I want her to be back in her own space. But the price and I, $2,800 is at the top of what $2,800 is absurd to me. Like that is for someone who is a CEO, they're in the C class, or they are an expat. No regular Jamaican who's paying $2,800 every single month on rent. At that budget, you buy a place, you buy a house, you buy an apartment. You know what I'm saying? You know.
I mean, even an expat, that's expensive because if you're leaving the US, it's typically to reduce your expenses so that you can live more and work less. At $2,800.
Well, I guess we're saying that expats who, like, you know, actual expats who are doing working, they work with a company and the company fly them in and put them up somewhere. I don't know who those prices are for, child. And so you'll find, but you know what? I was just looking at apartments last night, and the listing started at 4,000 US, and I'm just like, who are these prices for?
4,000.
There are lots of them. I ended up on like, so you know, you're on I was on Remax looking, and I ended up on page 16 just trying to find something in my ballpark, and that's where I ended up with prices that were like 1,200 US. And I'm like, even at 1,200 US, it's kind of high. It really is kind of high for the average Jamaican. I'm not making enough money right now to be like, okay, sure, $1,200 is affordable. Let's do it. I'm not.
Yes, JB, that was $2,800 US for a 3-2 in Jamaica. And C. Wilson says that's absurd. That's low end Cali prices. So what is, because who's buying? I mean, are they staying empty? Who's renting them then?
And then there are so many apartments. When I drive around Kingston, I'm just like, apartment. The building, them are go up. The building, them are go up. Who is renting them? Me don't know. I do not know. But they are expensive. And so that was one of the reasons why I actually left Jamaica in the first place. Because when I left Jamaica in 2022, I was in a 2-bedroom apartment it was the equivalent of around 900 US at the time. And it was in a very nice neighborhood. It was a very nice apartment, very spacious. It did nice. However, my father needed to come and live with me at the time. And so I would have needed to move into a 3-bedroom. And when I look at the 3-bedroom prices, I was like, all right, it's time to get out of here because there was no way. And so coming back to Jamaica now, 3 years later, realizing that 900 US at the time for me, my friends were looking at me like, you sure? Because the average Jamaican is not spending 900 US dollars on rent here we're just not doing it. It was a stretch. So to come back now and be like, I now need $1,200 and $1,200 is on the low end. It's what I'm realizing that I could possibly find something nice for $1,000, but I'm going to have to at least fork out $1,000 every month on rent if I want to move back into a 2-bedroom where Munchkin and I are comfortable. It's a nice apartment in a nice, secure area. It's going to be at least $2,000. Now, this is not to say that there aren't cheaper here in Kingston. I could move into something that's $500-$600. But now we're talking about what area is it in? Is it
Mhm.
secure? Is it a gated community? It's just me and Munchkin. I have a lot of things to think about, you know, and I do kind of like nice things, whole life. So, you know, there is that. But I'm realizing that I have to be able and willing to shell out at least $1,000 if I want to move into a 2-bedroom anytime soon.
It gets pricey.
It is. Now that's for Kingston. If you go to other parishes, you know, you can cut that a lot. But most of us live, well, I live in Kingston because of the schools that I want Munchkin to attend, and the work opportunities are here as well. So, you know, if YouTube takes off for me and I don't need to go to work, then sure, I can move out to somewhere that's more, I guess, in a remote area. But then I'm thinking again, I mean, I guess she would still be in school in a remote area, so she'd have friends, because I'm still thinking of my daughter and, you know, how her social life will be in a country. I'm a Kingston girl, born and raised, so I don't know anything about country life, you know what I mean? So me and my friends were talking the other day, like, so which school should I go if you live a country? And I'm just like, that was a very ignorant statement and conversation, because obviously there are good schools out in the country as well, but I'm born and grown in Kingston. I have no clue, I know nothing about the rural parishes.
C. Wilson says it's so true with Europe. Their full-time work week is usually no more than 35 hours a week. And she learned that on her multiple visits to European countries. And JB says, we definitely do not do life right. My family and friends think I'm weird to travel so much. That's how you learn. That's how you learn like other life. I'm telling you, when I did my study abroad, my eyes were open. I was like,
oh.
And
so it's weird to me when I meet people who are not interested in travel. I'm just like, oh, like, what do you mean? You just want to stay? I mean, life is sweet, but you still want to go out and experience more. You know, if life is this good here, why wouldn't you want to go out and see what it's like elsewhere too? Even if you don't go and live, I'm not saying everybody needs to live somewhere else, although that would be nice if everybody had that experience of living somewhere new. Travel more, learn about this world and how it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I was talking to you about a video we did on your channel about like just the comparisons of American life and Jamaican life and different cultures. And you were saying how in Jamaica they have day workers. And can you talk more about that? Like, is it the same? How do you meet them? How do you contract them? Like, do they sleep in the house sometimes? Do they come one day a week? How does all that work?
So that was definitely something else that I considered when people asked me if I would live in the US. I was like, but I'd have to do all my housework myself. Like, it's too expensive to get someone to come clean your house for you. And I'm so used to that. Now, my mother is going to laugh and roll her eyes when I say this, but in my tiny little 1-bedroom apartment, I'm already thinking, I wonder if we can get somebody to come clean for me every other week. Like, I'm already like, I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. I'm used to someone coming in and deep cleaning for me every other week at minimum, because that is something that is not that expensive here in Jamaica, depending, of course, on where you fall in the income bracket, you know, how much money you're making and things like that. So I have considered already having someone come in and just like deeply cleaning for me. I probably wouldn't need it more than once per month because it is a small space, but we can't matter. So what you would do is like start to ask around with your friends, because highly likely that your friends already have someone who come in and do that type of work. And so they might have openings, or they might know someone who is like, you know, they can say within their community that their boss's friend needs a day worker. Would you like to do it? If I don't get it that way, then I can ask on Facebook Marketplace, or not Facebook, in Facebook groups. I can ask. There are Facebook groups that are dedicated to that. Or I can ask. I love Twitter, so I'm always on Twitter, and I will never stop calling it Twitter. So I can ask on Twitter as well. You know, anybody know anybody who has openings for a day's work? And these, you know, hiring someone to come in and clean for you in my small space is going to probably be 3-4 hours tops. It's not very expensive. It is the equivalent of, I want to say, how much US is that? It's going to, I have my calculator right here. Let me. It's going to be about $40 for the 3-4 hours. It's going to be about 40.
$10 an hour is super inexpensive.
It really, yeah. And that's just for, as I said, for my small space. That's the very low end of the budget. I know people paying double that, but they're paying it once every other week. You know what I mean? So it's still not very expensive. Now, if you have a family and you need someone to come in and maybe offer childcare and stuff like that, I do know people who have everyday people come in and they have a care. They have someone who cares for the house and the kids every single day. Some of them have even live-in care, is what you were asking about. So yeah, we have houses with helpers quarters, they call it, which is such a colonial name from back in the day. But you know, you will have, I was in an apartment at one time that had a tiny little room with a little bathroom attached, which was so crazy to see in an apartment. But they will have live-in care and help depending on how much you need it. And that costs, let me do the calculation for how much that typically costs. That's about $130 per week for someone to come every single day. That's an average of what it might cost you.
Yeah, here that would be like thousands of dollars a month.
For every day?
A month, though.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe $2,000. But how common is that in Jamaica? Like can the average person afford that, or is it like your high end?
It's going to be your definition of average. So say for me in my example, if I'm working, I have a job, I'm middle class, or you know, how you would call that. I would say for me and my peers, it's pretty average. Everybody has someone who comes in and cleans for them at least every other week at the very minimum. I know people, even they don't have children, they still had someone come in and clean every other week just because it's convenient and you like that. So I would say on the level of, you know, you're working, you have a job, you're stable financially, I think it's pretty common to have someone come in at least every other week.
Yeah, that's one of the differences between the US and almost everywhere else. It's like there's so much convenience services and just help. There's so much help with family life.
Yeah, and that's one of the ways that we are able to, I guess, people who they're outside of the workforce now, they're still able to earn a decent living by offering this type of help and care to families who need it. So I know a lot of people with moms or elderly people, and when I say elderly, I mean maybe in their 60s. There are lots of daycare workers who are in their 60s who they're retired. They don't want to do a job, but they'll come and clean your home and stay with your kids. And, you know, it's 4, 5, 6 hours of work tops, and they go home and they're okay with that. You know what I mean? And it's a way for them to still stay active, make a little bit of money, and help out with their own financial situation. Right.
Okay, so you moved back to Kingston. So how safe do you feel? Because, like, how safe do you feel walking around at night? Or just walking around, or is it walkable? Do you always need a car?
So where I am is very walkable, very, very, very walkable. Do I recommend it all the time? Probably not. I take a lot of Ubers, even very short distances, I'll take an Uber. The safety is something that one of the reasons why I always wanted to maintain connection with Jamaica, even when I was away. Because I wanted to, you hear a lot online and you get very scared of what you think might be happening. When you're here, it's different. When you're here, you know where to go, you know how to move. And so I don't feel any less safe than I did when I was here a few years ago. And that's good for me. You just take certain precautions. Like, you wouldn't find me walking around at night. Absolutely not. I would jump in an Uber, or if I have a car, that's even better. And the thing is that statistically, the crime rate is actually dropping, which is a great thing, and I hope it drops dramatically in this year, next year, the coming years. But the government is actually doing something once and for all. And our crime rate is really and truly dropping. There are more opportunities being offered to people, and things are getting better here. Dare I say, knock on wood, that it continues that way. Things are getting better.
Okay, so you think Jamaica is going to be your permanent home, but you might visit or have like seasonal living elsewhere?
I think that's exactly what I'm aiming to be. I want to be able to eventually purchase a home, maybe a cute little beach cottage somewhere, and have that be my permanent home. And then I travel as much as I feel like.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us, what is a must-try dish in Jamaica?
Oh my goodness. Okay, so the first thing that I had when I came back was fried chicken with curry goat gravy. As weird as it sounds, it is one of the most common lunch orders. So you buy a regular box food at just a little cook shop, and the cook shop menu usually looks something like fried chicken, curry goat, stew beef, stew pork, maybe stew peas, a pigtail. Those are the common things and they come with rice and peas. Those are the common things that we would buy for lunch here if we go to just a little cook shop, not a restaurant, just a little cook shop that's cooking and serving you the food in a styrofoam box through a window. I had some fried chicken with rice and peas and curry gravy, and that was amazing. So give it a try. I would say give that a try if you've heard about curry goat and you're like, I'm not eating goat. Just try fried chicken with a little bit of curry gravy, and that's a good way to try it out and see if you like it or not. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, I've grown up on curry goat, so it seems strange to somebody don't want to try it. I'm like, you don't want to try curry goat? But I guess if you've never had it, it could seem weird.
And then the other thing, of course, is you have to have a patty here in Jamaica. So even if you've had patties elsewhere, when you come to Jamaica, make sure you have Jamaican patties just to compare and see what it's really like.
Okay. So we do have a few people watching. I just want to put your channel here again. Monique from Kingston. Subscribe to her channel to see life in Kingston and what all that entails. Subscribe to this channel to see more interviews from expats around the world. So you were in the US for a while. Did you find a must-try dish in the US?
I think I really and truly wanted to try an authentic Louisiana seafood boil. I don't know if I got the opportunity to do that. I had a few, what was it? I went to a few restaurants that had some variations on their menu, and I got a taste of it. I'd say I'm still holding out to try an authentic Louisiana. Is it New Orleans or Louisiana? Where does it actually come from?
New Orleans is the city in Louisiana.
Ah, right. There we go. So I want to try a seafood boil, and I'm still holding out for that. Okay. Otherwise, from that, not really. Not really. Coming from such a vast culture, I guess, where a lot of American foods are already here, I don't know that there was something that I really wanted to try when I went there. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a bunch of comments, which I missed somehow. I don't know how I missed them. So C. Wilson says that, yes, it sounds like Jamaica has private foreign equity firms buying up all the real estate because we don't know who is.
People keep saying it's people in the diaspora, but buying it up for what? I don't know.
Airbnb. Maybe Airbnb until they're ready to move.
Maybe.
Your mom says country life is the best.
She is a country girl. She is definitely the country girl. And I love to go and visit her and come back to my town life, my fast pace for Jamaica, but my fast paced life in Kingston.
C. Wilson says she agrees traveling is important. Your mom's side, I think that's about the cleaning lady.
The cleaning lady. It's probably about that.
And Nika says that's also another thing, the expense of help in the US. It's so expensive. Yeah. JB says Granny country life is the bomb, and she has good memories from childhood. Steve Wilson says, "Wow, that's amazing." About the cost of the extra help, and your mom loves living in St. Anne.
I will say that when I do want to buy my little country cottage somewhere, it's probably going to be in St. Anne or St. Mary, the bordering parish. I love that little corridor there that they have. And so I'm thinking that it might be in the North Coast, as opposed to lots of people want to retire in the South Coast because it's less touristy. Like when I move to St. Anne, I'll have to deal with all of the tourists and stuff, but I love it there. So.
And Nika says elder care for her parents is 5 times more in the US. They have someone with them every day for 8 hours in Trinidad, and it's the same as it costs for someone who would be with them 4 hours a day.
Wow. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That's another thing I don't think about because I'm not there yet. I think about childcare, but it's true. It's the same thing on the other end. As you need somebody to help you with your parents when they get that age. And in the US, oh my God, it's so expensive.
Yeah, so my father is actually in a home right now, and it costs less than $500 per month. And the home gives them, food and helps them with their medicine. You buy the medicines and all of that stuff, but there are people on hand who will help them with all of that stuff. So I can't imagine what having him in a home in the US would cost, but yeah.
Your mom says she was there about 12 years ago. Is that the US? And
yeah,
it is $500 to $700 per week.
Right. So I think she used to do elder care while she was in the US way back then. $700 per week, and I'm spending $500 per month for my dad right now. So, and he is in a home. So,
$700 per week 12 years ago.
12 years.
Now it's probably closer to 1,000. So that's 4,000 a month versus 500.
Right. That is crazy.
C. Wilson says she needs to see what Trinidad is about.
Yeah, I've been to Trinidad for Carnival. I would definitely go back.
I need to go. I want to go.
You have to. Let's plan a trip.
I want to go to Jamaica Carnival, which I think is August 6th.
It's
right?
April. It's April.
April?
Yeah, August is our independence. So anytime you come, if you come in Easter or in August, it's going to be a turn up time.
Okay. Yeah.
But our carnival is right after Easter.
Okay. Anika says also the care in Trinidad for both my parents and for her dad. And her dad has Alzheimer's and her mom's legally blind.
So it would pretty much double then. That's crazy.
Yeah. This is my cousin.
Hi, cuz.
Great video. Thank you. Glad to see you. Your mom says ackee.
Oh, yeah. You need to try ackee and saltfish if you come to Jamaica for sure. It's my favorite breakfast dish if I'm going Jamaican as opposed to eggs and bacon.
Yeah. My mom asked if your mom is in Jamaica.
She is. She currently lives in St. Anne and loves it there.
Yeah. So mom, her mom, this one here, Jamaican Gypsy, she has her own YouTube channel, and she was going to visit Monique in Mexico, and she got detained. So she has a whole video about that on her YouTube channel. If you want to see her experience or hear about her experience of being detained in Merida when she was coming from Jamaica, because Mexico had a whole thing with the Jamaican passport and they sent her back. So it's a story.
It was crazy.
If anybody wants to go to her channel and see that.
I'm telling her to do more videos of just life in St. Anne because, people want to see the country life too.
And how much it costs there, and yeah,
as opposed to I'm about to drop a cost of living video on my channel, so stay tuned for that. But then mom should do one for in the country too, so we can compare what that's like.
Anika says it's $6,000.
How do people afford that? How do people afford that? That's crazy to me, and that's why I was saying, like, you're living in the US. but you're spending so much more. You come here, you cut your quality of life a little bit, or maybe a lot, depending on what your standard of life has been, but you get back so much. You really and truly get back so much.
It's true. Your mom said she was talking about a nanny. So
oh, yeah.
12
Yes,
years
that's
ago,
what she used to do. Yes.
12 years ago was $700 a week. And you're saying in Jamaica it was like 130 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That part, I think I was fine living in the US. I mean, I did notice that we work too much. I was like, that's interesting. But then when I had kids, I was like, oh, this is too much.
Because you want to spend time with your children. I tell you, a lot of the lifestyle that I have now was because of the decision I made many years ago that I didn't want to send my child off to daycare while I work 9 to 5. Like, I had to have time to spend with my child, and I set my life up for that. That's how I did all this online stuff that I've been doing. No, you work too much, and then when you come home, you're irritated. You don't want to be with your kids.
Tired, yeah. Tired, yeah. So
wow.
JB, like 11,000. I can't imagine. I literally, that's more than childcare. I mean, childcare can be anywhere from $1,200 on the very low end to like $3,000 a month, depending on where you live. Like if you live in a city like New York, it could be more expensive. But $11,000.
That's absolutely crazy. And so how much money do you have to make in order to be able to afford that? Now imagine if you took a hit, like half, even a quarter in your income and moved to a small island. You get back so much because your care moves from $11,000 to $500 a month. And now you don't have to work so hard. So you get to enjoy the island. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, $11,000 is mind because that's just ridiculously unaffordable. Ridiculous. I mean, I think even half that, $5,000 is ridiculously unaffordable. $60K is $5,000 would be $60K a year for one person. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So my mom said she's gonna follow your mom. And she's sorry to hear about the being detained in Mexico. Okay, so if anybody has any last minute questions for Monique, just put them in the chat. My last question is, you wake up and it's a Tuesday morning, you're back in Jamaica, and what does your day look like?
Well, right now, because I'm not in a 9 to 5 and I'm just doing this YouTube thing, here's what my day looks like. I get up at around 9 a.m. I get up around 9 a.m. I make some tea. I do all the morning routine stuff. And then I will set up the camera and start to record something for YouTube, most likely. I will make lunch. So I'll have something to eat. And then in the evenings, I've been trying to set up a new evening routine where I get some physical activity in. So right now my daughter is not in full-time school because unfortunately Jamaica is kind of backward that way where I can't join school now. It's too late in the school year. I have to wait until September. So she's still doing online stuff, but I have to wait until September for her to join formal schooling again. So we are looking into tennis lessons for her, and I'll just do the gym. There's a cute little Pilates studio that opened near me. So I'm hoping to become a Pilates girlie at some point. So yeah, this is what my days are filled with: filming for YouTube, cooking healthy meals, and doing physical fitness. And then, girl, I started dating. So, the nightlife is on and popping as well.
That sounds like a dream. Cooking, making videos, eating healthy food.
Right?
Some movement in your body. A healthy, nice dream.
Like, I would love this to continue forever. F a 9 to 5.
Right. So Anika says, yes, that's what she found too, was the cost of facilities, $11K a month. And JB, because I was like, how do you afford that? JB said, you have to sell your home and they take all your assets.
That's crazy. So you work all this time.
Right. You work decades to acquire this amount of wealth. And now you have to sell it to be able to afford
healthcare.
$11K a month elderly care. Yeah. That's something to make you go insane. Like that, I can't do that. I cannot do that. I can't do that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And let's see, Anika's looking forward to your videos in Jamaica. She says, great, great video.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was so much fun, Tiffanie.
It was. We always have a good time.
Yes.
I don't know how we keep finding stuff to talk about, but we just find stuff
right?
to talk about. Okay, thank you for joining, and we will see you again, I'm sure, in maybe a year or so, or a couple months. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see what else we find to get into. And you still have to come to Jamaica. I'm holding you to that.
I know. We gotta do a video there.
Yes. All right.
Okay, bye.